Next up, we have our very own Pat Rivard. He's going to do part 2 of his scratch building of a stone engine house. And okay, Pat, we'll go ahead and unmute yourself.
You're muted, Pat.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Thanks, Tom. We'll try and get to where we left off last time, which was a couple weeks ago. I think we were on the roof design.
That's correct.
Getting close. And this is where we started, I think, or ended it last time. So if you look closely, all the rafters are now set into the outside beams along the walls at the top. You can see them all along there. They all have notches in them. I actually cut these pieces all the same length and separated the rafters so they're all the same distance apart. That's because I am going to be lifting this roof off once in a while, not a lot, but I will be lifting it off every once in a while to show the interior. And it was quite something to figure out how I was going to do it and still be able to block the lighting coming through the top edge of the roof on the ends. Anyway, moving on. You can see here where the machine shop part of the engine house, I have all the machinery installed. These are all white metal castings that I had to clean and paint and finish and put in place. And some of them were 3D printed also. I had to put them together. Put motors on every one of them and belts. And you can see right along the edge of the wall there where the sheeting I used on the outside comes up over the top. That covers the foam core board, if you look closely. And the foam core board is the next layer, which I put the beam along the top. And then you can see the sheeting I used on the inside wall of the foam core board and then the studding after that and the top edge of the studding. Also, if you look at that picture, you'll see 2 wires going across. I use that in a lot of my larger buildings, most of my buildings, and that's piano wire. And I use that for my power to run source of power to the lights that I installed inside the building. One side negative, the other side positive, and I always put the resistor on that wire with the one side. Moving along. There's a clearer picture of the material and the equipment I put in there. And also added a few figures to add some interest to it. There's a closer picture of the wiring and how I did it. And the rafters, you can see the steel trusses or straps that I used on the trusses in order to prevent twisting, bending, or breaking of any sort, add the weight from the roof. And I added nut bolt castings to it to make it look more realistic. And all of the rafters have been stained lightly with an India egg stain. If you look down below, you can see the desk. And that's the boss's desk. And there's more machinery on the right-hand side of that building that I put in along with some shelving. There's a close-up of the one of the beams of the crane lifts on the chainfall lift over top of one of the pits. And that's what I used to haul stuff up off of an engine or whatever it was that might be heavy. And there you can see the bottom part of the floor is the beginning of the walkway between the 2 pits that you use to walk on at the level of the engine doors. When you're working on the engine doors of the diesel or steam or whatever it is you're working on. And I added a few figures there. And you'll also see a little mobile oil and grease attachment. Here's an interior view, a shot from the end. You can see where the rail is all the way along the edge has been nailed down into place. That's all code 148. And the other, there you can see a clear view of the walkway that I built. And of course, all the wood is stained accordingly to make it look like it's well used and worn. And you can see where that chain fall is in the back, and it's hooked up to a plastic I-beam that's supported on the outside wall, where I added an extra beam going up the wall. It gives it extra support for the channel. There's a darker picture you can see on the left-hand side in the back, some more of the machinery and some more of the rafters. Here's a view of the doors that I built for the ends. Those are scratch-built doors. And I used a part of another door from one of the manufacturers that I had, 2 engine doors. And then what I did is I added to the sides, the bottom, and the top. And the door hinges are called engine house door hinges. That's what they are. But I had to add pieces behind on the outside part of the wall and behind these hinges in order to keep it at the same level. And those hinges have a little pin going through the end, so they do operate back and forth. Here's a closer view of what I used to hold the door closed. If you notice along the edge of the door where they close together, one door has a lap and the other doesn't. So when it closes, that part that has the rod going up and down holds the other door closed. So you can see that goes up into a little pin at the bottom here, just underneath the light. You'll see there's a little black pin there that this wire goes up into and holds the door closed. And this little handle way down at the bottom is what I use to turn that pin to go up and in and over. In other words, it's got its own locking mechanism. And you can see at the top, I double hinged it because you can figure that door has got to weigh a ton. Here's the roof where I started placing all the lumber on top. All the lumber was stained of a off-white color, and then I used a darker grayish charcoal colored stain on the white that added that smoke appearance that you would get on inside the engine house, and dirty appearance and not clean. And both sides of that wood was stained the same because I didn't know which side I was going to use when I put it on there. And all this roofing was glued on with CA glue. I have an industrial strength CA glue that I use. It works pretty good. The windows I placed along there to give myself an idea how the celestial roof would look and how many windows I would need. In a closer view or a further out view to give you an idea just how it worked. Every one of them boards I cut and finished myself. There's your celestial roof, and you can see how I had left space on each end of the celestial roof with the so it would sit back on the steel roofing. I didn't want it to run right up to the end. The steel roof is all made out of plastic. That's all sheet plastic that I used, and I used small 3/32 square plastic, evergreen plastic along the top at equal intervals in equal distances so that it would look proper along the top of the roof. This is what you call flat steel and rib roofing. Then I added the peaks at the top of that, so it had a ventilation area at the top. Then I put the stacks at the other end with the wires to hold them. There's the end view of the building, and you'll see another little building in the back there that I used to, that's called my heating and electrical plant. And that's where I'll run a piece of pipe up along and into the back wall. If you look at the top, there's a strip of plastic I used all the way along. That's to put the other stonework on top of that roof or the walls. And then you can see some of the pilasters along the middle there. That's where my joints were for the stonework. I had to cover it with something, so I took a piece of thin plastic, I covered it with the same material, and then added it on to that to cover the joint, so it looks proper. There you can see the machine shop side of the building and the ends of the rafters coming through the roof. That door also I scratch built so that it would fit with the same hinges. I had to cut the hinges down to fit. And then I scratch built the decking to unload some materials from flat cars into the back machine shop. And there's a clear view of the end with the doors already operating and the lights installed. And we're going to make this quick for you, Tom, because it's getting late. Thank you very much. And I hope anybody has a question, don't be afraid to ask. I'll see if I can help you.
Hi, Pat. It's Larry McDonald here.
Yes, Larry.
You can just refresh my memory. What's the material you used for the stone on the walls?
I got that from Etsy. It's like a wallpaper. It's called bumpy paper. And it looks
Okay.
like stone, and it really
Yep.
looks good.
It's a beautiful structure. Beautiful.
Thank
And
you
the
very
stone
much.
looks great. Thank
Pat,
you.
I saw all of the cut lumber for the roofing when you were first laying out the windows, and then the finished shot shows it covered with the standing seam metal roofing. Did you put that over the wood?
Yeah, no, yes, I did. No, sorry, it's sitting on the rafters themselves, right over the wood, on the top only. It's covered it up.
Oh, okay.
I didn't care about it because I wasn't going to see it anyway. It's just I wanted to stain it on both sides so that it would look right underneath when you're inside the engine house. So you don't know which side you're going to use at first when you're gluing.
Right, but so you only see it when you take the roof off.
That's right. That's
Okay, boy, that's dedication. Nice job.
Thank you
Hey,
very
Pat,
much.
I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
That bumpy paper I noticed on the corners and things, you had to fold it, it looks like.
Yeah, what that
is it-
was, Tom, was an angled piece, a 90-degree angled piece of plastic. You can buy that angled plastic in Evergreen. And then I took and used I sanded it lightly, and I installed the bumpy paper over top of that with water-based glue, like contact cement.
Yeah,
And I was surprised; it really held well, and it looks good when it's on.
and the other so you use the contact cement. That was my follow-up question. So you
Yes.
answered the water base. Does anyone else have any questions for Pat? That is a world-class modeling effort there. Very well done. You should be very proud of that.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
Excellent model. I mean, absolutely excellent.
It was fun to build.